Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I want you to thank you for coming. I am sure you are excited as I am. Because this is a good journey. And like MC. So by the end of today, I have three concepts that we are going to mention. Those three, I am sure we're going to trust will also mention with short while we will have details of UniBen and your celebration. Well, let's just like we're discussing
Wait, can't check your
environment, not just events, but by expression.
Anybody got to
Because everywhere they go, what is the price? Tell us the price that they will be. And that's not why women are created. We are created to live on our society. And so rather than somebody looking at a beautiful thing, like I said, those things after a while, when we go to change the budget. You begin to dye your hair. I always do. If I don't, I probably look for white. And then if I don't think this video, the probably are so big now. That is what happens to the beauty. But what happens is your brain takes you to places where beauty may not even be, So we think that the very established women in the world, how many want to push not do that beautiful. But what is taking them to where they are, actually, what they have upstairs. So we must begin to look at that. We must begin to look at that rich area where you think you are strong. Please build on that, area. And above all, like I said, just to integrate the game. Ensure that we are committing to the God that the one thing is how mental work. 2, 3, 4, I don't have any of them. I have that they never thought we never said. Say that. Can you stand to say that about yourself? So please, that is the challenge after justice now, that we are here to conquer the world. And I can assure you that somebody said, we will be on the time, not so wrong any time of now.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'll put that. Okay, ladies, can we put your hands together? Yeah, I know. Yes, the day is here, the DPCs are here, the DPC, the MC, then people are placed among this month. Okay, but then the conversation was that first of all, you need to be the one to support yourself. So no man here is going to be the one to start planning for you, you don't plan for yourself. So plan for yourself. Very strong feeling. I remember a couple of years ago, or many years ago, we had a Beijing conference. The Beijing conference that took place in China. And arriving from that conference, there was a generative change for the role of women in the workplace. Except that some persons took it to the house, and some of us heard stories of what happened when they took it to the house. I have a very strong belief this morning by the Vice Chancellor, the distinguished that this conference, the narrative will change. Do you agree with me? The narrative will change. As we said the mentorship, do your thing, and definitely you will be recognized and you will go places. That's my prayer for all of us here, and that's my wish for all of us here going forward. And so shall it be. In Jesus' name. We move on very quickly. Vice Chancellor, now distinguished minister here tonight. We have a lot of some individuals who are aligned with this conference, and they are sending their copy messages. We want to very quickly take the copy messages from this individual. The president of the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, NCA, and Chairman of Council, Engineer Margaret Aina Ogunsala, to send the good message, but is not here to represent, and the good message will be taken by Engineer Professor Bishop Group. I refer to our engineer after normal. Okay. Okay, Director Agnes, the Agnes, okay, well, I don't know. Thank you so much. You have to have a happy day. Thank you.
Good morning. Professor Salami, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, all other protocols being possessed.
After this one, not
The Director of Advanced Science Center, UniBen. I'm here to deliver a quick message on behalf of Engineer Margaret Ogunsala, the President of Chairman Council, Nigerian Society of Engineers, who is unavailably absent. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the council and entire membership of the Nigerian Society of Engineers, I think you want with me as sincere best wishes on this occasion of the inaugural leadership of the President of the Nation. I would like to start with a commendation for UniBen on the initiative of this special honor.
With humility and gratitude to God, as a graduate of UniBen, I express delight in this opportunity for me to be here, which I consider as my homecoming in my capacity as the 34th President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. I'm delighted to inform you that I'm the first woman who, by the common will of all the Nigerian engineers, has assumed the office of President in its 66 years of existence. As part of the objectives for its establishment in 1958, the Nigerian Society of Engineers is committed to focusing on collaboration with, as well as influencing and providing value-adding advice to the various arms of government, commerce and industry sector players, the academia and the society at large. It is in pursuit of that collaborative mandate that we are here today. We therefore accord this visit utmost importance and regard this as vista to a robust relationship between NSC and UniBen. The University of Benin's commitment to academic excellence, community engagement, healthcare leadership, student development, technological advancement, and ethical standards exemplifies its role as a leader in advanced education. Exemplifies its role as a leader in advanced education in Nigeria. I am therefore not surprised that this management, as part of its usual innovation, has incited these debates on women in leadership. This occasion brings to mind Professor Grace Alile Williams of blessed memory. The tenure of this woman of distinction as Vice Chancellor was marked by significant achievements. She elevated the university status in a special way. And I believe that this has set a precedent for future female leaders in academia. World over, the journey towards gender parity in different professions are replete with both challenges and opportunities. Women face numerous obstacles up to balancing professional and personal responsibilities. I therefore urge us all to deliberately work towards turning these challenges into opportunities for growth and transformation. By addressing these issues frontally, we can create a more inclusive and dynamic community. Here in Nigeria, we should have clear policies on the part of the government and at the industry level to encourage and retain women in their chosen professions for them to rise to the zenith. Women must be assured of favorable working conditions at all times, covering their maternity for them to feel secured on their job, get elevated appropriately, and get enough opportunity of ample time to manage work and family. I believe that sustained enlightenment will also break cultural barriers which have negatively affected the advancement of women in some fields. Ladies and gentlemen, our country is looking unto us as the leading professionals to provide solutions to the gamut of the current challenges. The global economic meltdown, which has been exacerbated by the poor management of our affairs, has resulted into a difficult situation for our people. It is therefore our duty to take it upon ourselves in engaging with our people on different flanks. This is the way to go. You will all agree with me that women have always played a crucial role in the development of societies, and their contributions have been effective. Women have continued to demonstrate their capability, innovation, and resilience. It is our duty as leaders and stakeholders to ensure that women in Nigeria are not just participants, but form part of the leadership nucleus for us to achieve development and deal with the incidents of poverty and diseases. I would also like our women to note that leadership is a continuous journey and it takes time, effort, and dedication to achieve. Elevation to the apex requires hard work and a willingness to continuously learn and pushing yourself to become a leader in your industry. The glory is attainable if you will consistently deliver high quality work and demonstrate your value to your organization. Establishments require up-to-date knowledge. Also important, you must open up to mentoring others, build relationship with colleagues and industry leaders to expand your influence. Ladies and gentlemen, the various viewpoints at this gathering should present us significant opportunity to address the subject of our time, which concerns with the empowerment and leadership of women in various sectors of the economy. I call upon all to support women and advocate for policies that promote diversity and to challenge the biases that hinder progress. By so doing, we not only enhance the lives of individual women, but also strengthen our entire industries. I want to tender my profound gratitude, Chancellor, Professor Lillian Salame, for this opportunity. Thank you for your attention, and I wish you all successful deliberation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Engineer Margaret Aina Oguntala, the President of the Nigerian Society of Engineers. Very well represented by Engineer Professor Patience Orukwe. Can we again appreciate her with a hand of applause? Thank you so very much. Thank you. Other messages we got by way of goodwill message, we have from Dr. Folashade Tinubu Ojo, FCIML. The message has been sent. ICT, could you please play the message?
Principal officers and staff of the university. Distinguished guests, speakers, and other discussions here present, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I'm honored to be invited to these impressive events. We are distinguished women who have proven themselves in their respective fields are assembled to discuss contemporary topical use on the team, finding your spark, breaking your boundaries. This is an event I would have loved to attend physically because of its inconvenience, but I have to speak virtually due to some pressing engagements. I know women all over the world have actually found their style and broken boundaries, but for us in Nigeria, it does appear that we are all still selective in asserting our presence in some fields. This symposium, therefore, is us, timely and official to awaken the pride of manhood in Nigeria. Women are allowed to hold any position of leadership in Nigeria and observe, just as many of you have already. Well, I must sincerely appreciate the Vice Chancellor of this great university of Benin, Professor William Salami, and all other distinguished dignitaries, professors, visiting Vice Chancellor, Secretariat, you incidentally are all women, and have come to do justice to this event. I know the outcome is certainly of immense value and benefit to all more in our generation Nigeria. Please accept my goodwill and pleasantries. Thank you so very much for this opportunity. God bless you all.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's take the second one, which is from our very own Dr. Mrs. Loretta Ogboru Oko. I think one of the first things many of us will have to learn today that we have to take away from here is learning to support ourselves. The first is what? After such a very inspirational message, I think she deserves, she may not be here, but she deserves a very warm hand of applause. Let's begin to do that. Yesterday, going through the lectures, one thing really stood out, and that is that women need to what? Support each other. Women need to support each other. My Vice Chancellor just alluded to it a few minutes ago during her opening remark, that have to do with mentorship. Mentorship is very, very important. Women need to mentor each other. And so, if we're anything we're going to take away from today, is that we need to make a very conscious decision, conscious effort. There's somebody out there that you've noticed, you see certain potentials in the individual. Call the individual and set the stage and set the ball rolling with respect to mentoring that particular individual so that she or he can attain the God-given potentials. Thank you again, ladies and gentlemen. Put your hands together for yourselves. Put your hands together for yourselves. Thank you. So we want to go into the main dish for today, and that is the guest lectures. The first is from a gentleman who is very much at home in the digital space. He is at home. He lives, basically eats everything technology or ICT. No wonder he decides to give his lecture virtually today. I'm talking about Dr. Joe Abba, OON, the DIA's country director for Nigeria, an internationally recognized expert in governance and institutional reforms, political economy analysis, and change management. He was a former Director General of the Bureau of Public Service Reforms in the presidency and has led several international development programs for various donors. I must tell you that prior to 2003, he was at the forefront of governance reform in the United Kingdom, including public service reforms from the famous number 10 Downing Street office. His expertise remains in demand across the world. He was the 2023 keynote speaker at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology Africa Innovative Conference, a visiting fellow of practice at the Blavatnik School of Government at Oxford University. He is a barrister and solicitor of the Supreme Court of Nigeria, England, and Wales. He holds a PhD in governance and public policy analysis, Masters of Art in Business Law, London University, and a Bachelor of Law degree of the University of Law, University of Calabar. Very distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is this very astute, savvy administrator that I now invite to please deliver this address for today, or rather to give the keynote lecture for today, titled Digital Leadership Using Technology to Amplify Your Voice and Work. Dr. Joe Abba, OON.
I deeply regret not being able to be there in person. I planned to attend in person. I'm very much looking forward to meet a number of wonderful people who I always know, but I think I actually realized that the top figures of Westport, I, the University of the have known them for being experts and specialists in their profession, but I didn't realize they were all within the University of the. So I'm really looking forward to meet the number of people there. Of course, then excellent locations while we're doing the one for the also that a week ago or so, which necessitated the postponing of this conference, by which time I'd already scheduled to undertake another assignment. So big regret that I'm not able to be there in person. I hope that I'll be invited back for future sessions, and I look forward to meeting everyone again then at future conferences. The theme of the conference is finding your spark, breaking your boundaries. And I think it's a really important theme because a number of people actually go through life. You'll be surprised how many people go through life without ever finding their spark. What is that one thing that gives them joy? What is that one thing that you would do? Not for the money initially, just for the passion, for the joy they derive by doing it. And what is better than actually getting paid for doing something you enjoy? So very many people go through their lives, they just go to work in the morning, come back in the evening, Monday to Friday, until they're 60, 65, 70, they retire, and that's it. They've just labored. Now, finding your spark is a totally different. It's a totally different objective, actually. So there are many people who do what they have to do because they have to earn a living, but then also find a way to do what they enjoy, what gives them pleasure and keeps them motivated. So you have people like the fashion designer Vera Wang, who was actually a professional figure skater. So she probably would have been skating at the Olympics. But when she turned 40, she sort of decided that, look, skating is not what gives me joy. It's actually designing clothes and making people look good. And so at the age of 40, she started her bridal clothing line, and that's what she does now for a living. A lady called Toni Morrison was the editor of a newspaper. Yeah, not a terribly exciting job. You know, you edit a newspaper, you make sure there's nothing libelous that they can sue the paper about, you ensure that interesting articles are written and things are explained and all of that. So she was doing that, that was her job. But then she had a passion for writing fiction. And so she decided she started to write novels, fiction novels, and eventually won a Nobel Prize for literature. So you can see how, you know, being a wife, being a mother, being a member of a team, leading an organization, doesn't really stop you from still looking for that thing, that spark that gets you out of bed every morning and keeps you motivated. I similarly struggled. My first degrees were in law. I felt that my passion was seeking justice and defending the weak of society. And so I did my first 2 degrees in law, qualified as a barrister and solicitor in Nigeria, re-qualified as a solicitor in England and Wales. And then at some point in my career, I sort of came up against the power of the states and realized that the executive arm is actually more powerful than the judicial arm, which is not what it should be, but in many countries, particularly developing countries, the notion of the balance of power is not exactly balanced. And so I realized that the executive is actually where the problem is if you wanted to affect society and protect the weak. And so I sort of pivoted from the practice of law, which I was enjoying, but I actually wasn't going to make any money out of, because I kept doing pro bono cases. I kept looking for widows that had been cheated, and I'll take their case for free, and I just wasn't making any money at all. So I pivoted to working on issues of governance, feeling that, look, a single policy introduced or executed by a low-level person can actually have profound effects on the lives of millions of people in a way that is totally different from one person that is being disadvantaged. So working on issues such as getting rid of gender-based violence, making sure that women can inherit the property of their husbands or their parents, making sure that a woman doesn't need the consent of her husband to obtain a Nigerian passport. All those kinds of things are policy issues that affect the lives of millions of people. So that was how I pivoted and started working on those issues of governance, ensuring that we have inclusivity, ensuring that we don't have women and older people, younger people, people with disability who are disadvantaged. And you know, you could see even with Aliko Dangote, the richest man, the richest black man on earth, having sourced and spent $20 billion on a refinery, how easy it is for a government official to simply come out and discredit the work that they do. So those are the kinds of things that keeps me going. That's my own spark. It's why I can stop at a roadblock and ask them, what are you doing here? Are you unauthorized? Is this an authorized roadblock? It's why I'll go to an airport, get there an hour before my flight as a reasonable citizen. And then when it's delayed 2 hours later, and they tell me it's been delayed for operational reasons, I go and ask them, what exactly are the operational reasons? You need to give me a better explanation than just giving me a time. So this is how this is what keeps me going, and it's why inside of government, outside of government, I continue to find a way to make things better. It's why the recent improvements we've been seeing in our passport issuance system, I've actually been on the case of that for 11 years, including 4 years in government, and we continue to push to ensure that a Nigerian citizen will not have to pay a bribe to get a passport and would not have to beg anymore. So it's really important to find that spark. There's no time frame for doing it. There are people who found the spark in their 50s, 60s, 70s. There are those that it's when they become grandmothers and the children are finally left home. That's when they now have the time to think about what they enjoy doing. That could be working in a charity setting, establishing an NGO, whatever it is that gives them satisfaction. Now, sometimes and quite often, having found that spark, you are then faced with a number of barriers as to how to ignite that spark. And those barriers can be multifaceted. They can be barriers placed by government. Like I said, sometimes they will say, oh, you know, in some society, they will say a woman cannot do this, but a man can do that. So you have all of those kinds of barriers placed by government. Then you have barriers that are placed by society itself, based on their expectations of who should be able to do what, which can be quite difficult to overcome. And some of those societal barriers draw from retrogressive culture. So as an example, one of the very early cases I fought when I was a lawyer was a woman, a lady who had a small portion of land that she was farming to feed her children, following the death of her husband. And then the husband's brothers wanted to come and take the land. And he was like, so what do you want her to feed her children with? And why can't she inherit her own husband's property? Oh, it's our culture. Why? And that is one thing we must continue to do. That's one question we must continue to ask. When we see these harmful cultural practices, why? Why should a woman not be able to inherit? Why should a woman not be able to hold a senior position? Why? We must continue to ask the why. Some other constraints can be placed by just biology itself. At a point when women are having children, it's just more difficult to do certain things. Sometimes what you want to do, it may just not be convenient or possible. So I remember being able to complete my PhD in 3 years flat, even working full time. But then every other woman that was in my cohort took 6 years because they had to look after the home, they still had to work, look after the home, look after everybody else, and still do a PhD. So it's just difficult. It's just more difficult sometimes. And sometimes you need to just wait until the time is right for you to pursue that passion. At other times, those barriers are actually self-imposed. People feeling, I can't do it, or I'm not good enough to do it. Well, I've got a surprise for you. You're as good as anybody else. Nobody else who has done well. As our parents say, none of them have 2 heads. So you can actually do it. You just need to find the right time, the right avenue, the right level of support. Because I also find that a lot of the times when we want to do things, we don't reach out enough to people who have done it or people who have tried. Again, going back to when I did my PhD coach was actually someone that has started a PhD but couldn't complete it. So she was able to tell me everything she did wrong, and for me to avoid it. It's always easier to say, this person did it in 2 years. Oh, how did you do it? How did you start? But we also can learn from those who have tried and not succeeded. So it's good to reach out to people, learn from their experiences. One of the things that I do personally is I never get the opportunity to meet a senior person, and I don't use that opportunity to ask that senior person a number of questions. So I had the opportunity to meet President Obasanjo as an example. I asked him questions I planned to ask him questions for about 30 minutes. I ended up questioning him for like 5 hours. And he asked me to stay for breakfast and all of that. When I met Bill Gates, again, it was an opportunity to just say, can I just have 10 minutes and just ask you a question? You're a very smart man, of course, but how do you manage people who are smarter than you or as smart as you? And it's just one question that I'll just ask, and I'll be able to take something away from that person. So that's one way in which you can leverage on the strength of others. And, it is not impossible. There are women who have been the first women to do particular things in society. Margaret Thatcher was the first female prime minister in the UK, one of the best prime ministers in the UK. Kamala Harris is campaigning to be the first woman president of the United States. Hillary Clinton had run as one of the top 2 candidates for president of the United States. There have been many women who have, defied all the odds, believed in themselves, and broken that barrier. And I believe that it is all within us to be able to do so. I hope we have a very successful conference. I look forward to being invited back for future conferences. And I wish you the best and thank you for your time. Morning, everyone.
Ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together for Dr. Joe Abba. I was listening very intensely to the lecture, and I want to believe that you need to take a very serious look and listen very intensely to get the address or the title, which was Digital Leadership Using Technology to Amplify Your Voice and Work. I assure you it was well embedded in that lecture. Let's put our hands together for him. But the fact is that whatever it is that he said, there is something that all of us need to take away. And Madam Vice Chancellor, ma'am, what struck me in that very lecture was that there is no time to when you find your spark. This is there's no time. It could be much earlier in your career, much later in your career, or even when you have retired. There's no time limit. But the fact remains that when you find the spark, what do you do with it? How do you now break boundaries with the spark that you have recently uncovered within you? And a couple of limitations, even when you find the spark, primarily biological, which we all understand. But again, many of you, I think using the word many of us because I align with women. After me, I have 4 younger sisters. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you know what I mean. So we all know that and we do our best to assist in this, but don't allow the biological aspects to be a limit, to be a limitation, I beg your pardon, to how much you can achieve. And but more importantly, what he said was many of these limitations are self-imposed. I think Professor BCS also alluded to it. Professor Chemike also alluded to it. That at the end of the day, our biggest albatross is ourselves. That, oh, we begin to doubt ourselves. So, yeah, just do not impose any limitation. We just try. Take that first step. Take that first step. Growing up, we heard that a little water makes a mighty ocean. And as a professor of microbiology, if you have known the size of the ocean, little water doesn't make the ocean. Professor, I'm sure you agree, but you understand what that statement means. So, ladies, wonderful, beautiful women, listen to my voice and look at me. Please do not put any limitation on yourself. Is that something you are taking away from here today? Is that something you are taking away? I need to hear anything from the room. I need to hear anything from the room. Yeah. So if that's what you're going to do, put your hands together, put your hands together, put your hands together. Thank you so very much. Thank you, our Vice Chancellor. Thank you very much. I also want to let us also appreciate our Vice Chancellor. You probably don't know what has just happened. We didn't expect that she will be here, or even if she can, even though that she's here, we expect her to be here for just about 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Because there's a very important assignment going on right now at the auditorium, which is a valedictory lecture. Valedictory lecture is not particularly very common in the university. And so, in 50 years or more of this university, I think the one of today by Professor Chobe is 13th or 14th. Why inaugural lecture? So when you have a validation lecture, it is an occasion that even if an vice chancellor or any CEO will want to superintend over. But the fact that if she's here and has asked the other principal officers to go over there, underscores the importance that she places on this conference. I will appreciate that. So we want to very quickly move on to the next lecture. And this time around, funny enough, yesterday I was about to be a rebel. And I asked the chairman of the organizing committee, Professor Gafuna, how come all the speakers, they're all women? She said, tomorrow is for the men. Tomorrow is for the men. As I mean, I would have expected that, or I would have expected that a man to have been one of the speakers yesterday. You know, when women want to do this, sometimes they go backwards to do it. If it was a men's conference or a men's conference, I'm sure we would have invited one or two women to be part of it. But when women want to do their own, they completely exclude everybody, including their husbands and their sons. Yeah, even in my house, it happened. And the one that pays the bill, as they say, I'm the head of the house. But we are five in my house, myself, my son, my wife, and 2 girls. So when I want to take a decision, the next day they tell me, they say, well, let us put it to a vote. They say, let's put it to a vote. Of course, they are in the majority. Whether they are right or wrong, what happens? They will always vote. Majority takes it. Okay, so, well, today is for the men, but it's important that the men should be here to say a word or two. Because we want to look at it from the perspective of the men. This will finally your spark and the boundary. It's also important that where men becomes a stumbling block to you finding the spark. And when the spark has been found, expanding those boundaries, we also should know and know how to work correctly moving forward so that the narrative will change. The things of this note, I want to recognize our next guest lecturer. He is Dr. Lawani Ambrose Onirepo of the Anointed Royal Clan of Igaraland. He is the product of the University of Benin School of Medicine and the National Postgraduate Medical College of Wales. a past head of clinical services residency program, training program, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, and a former vice president of the Nigerian Medical Association, Edo State. He has been a member and chair of several committees of the Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin, and Edo NNA. He has attended and presented papers at several national and international conferences, actively involved in teaching at both undergraduate and postgraduate levels. Also, he is an examiner at the National Postgraduate Medical College and a resource person for the Center for Gender Studies of the University of Benin. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, he is currently the Chief Consultant Psychiatrist and Head Forensic Psychiatry Unit, Federal Neuropsychiatric Hospital, Benin. This gentleman, in his spare time, he loves to travel. I'm sure that was before this economic. I tell you, consider how much you pay for flight tickets. You think twice about traveling. So he also loves to dance. That's the hobby we share, and also with Madam Vice Chancellor, who also loves to dance. Put your hands together, Madam Vice Chancellor loves to dance. He likes to take photographs, but more importantly, he loves to strategic engagement with great man. It is this fantastic young man, Mr. Ambrose Lawani, that I now have the pleasure of inviting to give the next talk, which is titled Well-being and Success, Balancing Career, Ambition with Personal and Mental Health. Dr. Lawani. This slide, please. Privilege to be invited to deliver this lecture as part of the Inaugural Women's Leadership Conference with the theme Finding Your Spark and Breaking the Barriers. I'm also the Vice Chancellor of the University of Virginia, Professor Lydia Nwodia, the Director of the Institute of Gender Studies, Professor Adekule T. Professor Adekule T. Adekule, and the Chairman of the Organizing Committee, Professor Adekule. Great Amazons in their own right for creating this platform to inspire, empower, and educate women from all walks of life who aspire for leadership roles in their various fields of endeavor. So they are not just talking about people in the academia now. The Institute of Gender Studies in collaboration with the university, they're trying to ensure that even women, market women, and women in civil service across all strata of choosing career are able to ignite their spark. Balancing career ambition with personal and mental health is a critical component of a fulfilling life. Striking this balance is essential not only for achieving professional success, but for maintaining long-term personal well-being and mental health. Now, next slide. This presentation explores the strategy and evidence-based practices to help individuals, especially individuals, to harmonize their career goals with their personal and mental health needs. Next slide. What the learning objectives for this lecture will be to understand the concept of well-being as a holistic concept and to explain the interface between mental health and success in career, to identify common symptoms of mental health, to recommend strategies to balance career ambition with personal and mental health, and to identify some characteristics of a toxic
work environment, Now, but before we go on, we need to give some definition of some terms so that at least we can have better perspective going forward. What is the meaning of the term well-being? WHO, the World Health Organization, in its glossary of terms, defines well-being as a positive state experienced by individuals and societies. Similar to health, it is a resource for daily living, and it is determined by social, economic, and environmental conditions. One of the time for the vice president of mobility, we already have this aspect. Thank you very much. When I came into the degrees, the atmosphere, I mean, it was quite one that will make great much for. Now, what are the types of well-being? Physical well-being, social well-being, financial well-being, emotional well-being, mental well-being, spiritual well-being, and workplace well-being. So you can see well-being is just not as simple as it looks. So we're looking at it in a perspective as part of this lecture. Now, what are the factors that influence well-being? They include relationship with partner, with spouse, your employment status, social support network, the financial status, the nutritional status of the individual, and I want to believe that what my vice chancellor is doing, especially for this great movement here, is to create that kind of support base, for conflicts to emerge as leaders in their own area in the future. Now, success can be defined as the ability to reach one's goal in life, whatever these goals may be. Now, what is a career? Because it's very important to know, because that's why sometimes when people say education is a term, they can now understand what when the use of this, they say education is a term. We can know that some people don't have any idea what a career is, So a career is a long-term. Thank you very much. So a career is a job a person intends to do for a life, for a greater part of its life. And now you have your career ambition, what you intend to hope to achieve in your professional life. Now you need to have a high level of motivation, perseverance, and commitment and dedication to be able to attain professional growth in your chosen profession. Now, where does mental health come in? Now, the WHO has defined mental health as the state of well-being in which every individual realizes his or her own potential and cope with the normal stresses of life. Remember, normal stresses, not abnormal stresses of life. Normal stresses of life can work productively and fruitfully and is able to make a contribution to his or her community. So, Madam Vice Chancellor, you are making wonderful contribution to that community. Because I believe this lecture is beneficial to women, both academic staff and non-academic staff. I'm glad to know that you have guardians and counselors in your university demonstration school. Not many school proprietors create opportunity for such guardians and counseling units. So that's something to think about, because some of the problems in the ability to obtain career will start from early childhood. Now, work-life balance. This refers to the equilibrium between professional responsibility and personal life, where an individual manages to distribute their time and energy between work, mental activities, and personal interests, family commitments, leisure activities, and self-care. Now, the balance must be balanced, because if you begin to carry official duties to the house, your spouse may get irritated. So try as much as possible to clear your desk before going home, so that you don't irritate your spouse. I know is a source of story at home sometimes. It's something we must review. Now, what are the challenges of balancing career, ambition, your personal and mental health and health? Now, you can see some of the time women may experience high levels of stress, you know, and burnout, you know. Then this stress and burnout can lead to emotional detachment, even at their workplace. They will also experience reduced work performance, you know, and this will not be good, will not facilitate achieving their career ambition. Now, when people place too much emphasis on the work, the office work to carry it to continue to do it, it may eventually affect your physical health, because you may experience poor sleep. You need to experience an energy overdrive. Our people are medical attendees who are medical doctors here to understand what I mean. You begin to face excessive stress, and catecholamines are released in the body to probably become hypertensive, probably develop cardiac issues. Now, you also have what women experience in the workplace, gender bias and discrimination. There's gender bias and discrimination. Then what of the societal expectation of what a woman, the society expects a woman, a top flight career woman, to also be a good wife. So you also have to make arrangements as a lady, take care of your spouse at home. You know, so you must be able to have. Otherwise, society expects that you make provision for your husband so that you don't have such responsibilities, because you have the same responsibilities. Now, what are the strategies for balancing career ambition with personal and professional mental? You must set realistic goals to prevent undue stress and disappointments. Now, as a medical doctor in our training, we have stages in professional training. You know, so if you are getting set to go for a particular stage of your exams, and you must attend some public courses as part of the requirements to go for the exam, and you plan a pregnancy for that period, that's not an excuse. You must participate fully. And at the end of the day, the individual they get stressed. So ladies to learn to set their career goals. They must learn to hone their time management skills. Next slide. They must learn to hone their time management skills, and don't allow people who waste time to come and occupy your time. And that's why you see it's as simple as the sticker in front of the door. So this is going wonderful so that you don't waste your time. That is what God has given us all before and reach time. So if you allow people to mismanage your time, then you may have problems attaining your career goals. You must learn to practice delegation of duties. You can see Madam Vice Chancellor has delegated, and as people, and the function is still going on. But if he says you must be everywhere at the same time, that means that place will wait and people will get angry. So, but that's an efficient way of rolling. You must learn to delegate. But again, before you delegate, you must have also trained your subordinates. So you must look for people who know that are competent enough so that you can train them, so that you don't need to be looking back always after delegating. Of course, you must know the principles of delegation to get your feedback, so that at the end of the day, you don't take responsibility for a failed project, because that will not be an excuse. Now, you must also learn about stress management techniques. You know, one of the things you need to know when you are under stress is that sometimes your heart rate may increase. You may become breathless, because if you are choking, you may be sweating. So those are signs that you are stressed. So then you must learn stress management techniques, deep breathing exercises, meditation, mindfulness, you must engage in regular physical exercise. We thank God for the environment, the safe environment in the university campus. It's good for physical exercises in the morning. Then again, you must set healthy boundaries to protect your time and relationship. Now, I must tell you a story. Sometime in June this year, so you read it, the papers, a permanent secretary in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and you can see how the then immediate past head of service rose to the challenge and suspended the permanent secretary. I'm sure you are all aware of the intricate details of the story, which I'm not going to hear. But you remember the permanent secretary was always inviting the lady, even out when it's getting to 3:30, he was invited her to come and do this memo, come and take this memo. Then when she doesn't do it, the next week they are supposed to go on trip, and they will not be listed. When she complained to the minister cautioned the permanent secretary. Now, then the next trip, the permanent secretary now lodged her in the hotel, in the same hotel with himself. And what happened? The lady did not lodge in the hotel. So the next morning, the permanent secretary was very funny and asked her, why did you do that? And the lady said, that's great for another thing. And they came back to Nigeria and the harassment continued. Until the utterance of words I don't want to display, and the lady felt this is the handshake from beyond the elbow. And so she reported down the mental service and the mental service. And the foreign secretary for that suspension, they don't know what the outcome is. So there will be heavy boundaries for themselves to protect your own time. Because this lady was a nursing mother. And when she said she cannot 3:30, listen now. She has a baby to go to nursery. The permanent secretary said, I want to be added to that baby to be nurse. I want to also be nursing. That was a comment that pushed me. And so she had to now move to the next stage to protect our relationship. So we must all do that at all times. When we feel that this institution, this relationship is becoming very intrusive, and it's now beyond official superior subordinate responsibility and roles. Now, we must all develop the attitude for continuous learning. No man is an island of knowledge unto himself. So we must take good advantage of opportunities to learn, like platforms like this, with the work, to be able to get people to mentor you. People, ladies who have excelled their children. You must adopt a healthy lifestyle as the mother of the house. You should make sure that the well-being of your family is properly prioritized. You can easily learn from the younger ones and learn from the older women how they manage family and their finances, how they source from the older women. Those are simple things that are simple on the face value, but again, simple to help bring peace and way. The way we get a lot of support from the spouse. Then there should be a supportive work environment. The work environment will be supportive because the bottom line is that if you are planning to have a very glorious and fruitful career, and you begin your career in a area that is toxic, you will come to grief. So the earlier you are able to identify if you are not in this, that will overwhelm you to be able to know. And in the literature, here are some of the characteristics of a toxic work environment. Just like this. Now, there's high rate of turnover. So even if nobody tells you, see, they employ people, they leave, have it talk back. There's poor communication, there's poor work-life balance. So the boss doesn't give it down. It gives you an assignment, say, I want this thing, gives you an assignment by phone, say, I want it tomorrow, first thing tomorrow. How are you going to do it? That is what you think to do. So that's poor work-life balance. The institution or the work environment that is not supporting poor work-life balance. we need to see that like this. And of course, harassment, sexual harassment, of course. Then micromanagement, the boss wants to do everything by himself, and at the end of the day, nothing is achieved, and it blames the subordinates. Then you have toxic and ineffective relationship, unhealthy work practice, disrespect, lack of transparency, excessive workload, overall, lack of communication, then you have bullying, gaslighting, psychological manipulation, psychologically manipulating, against their will to do something, and at the end of the day, they feel bad. Then there's this instance of illness and absentee. Then you have people who lack organizations that lack the clear ethos, no diversity, equity in their policy. Now, what is the intersection between mental health and successful career? A stable mental health will ensure that individuals' cognitive functions are optimal. Such cognitive functions such as attention and concentration, short and long-term memory, which are required for good decision making and prioritization of tasks, will be absent when anyone has a mental health challenge. Because I can assure you, and some of your subordinates, if you are a CEO, you are an aspiring CEO, in a department, some of your subordinates are put you into problem. If you are not, if your attention and concentration is poor, they will bring back what you have signed before. When you are tired, you will sign it again. So you need to know, you need to be able to go by yourself when you are tired, put it away, so that they don't put you into trouble. Because that's not an excuse. So if our mental health is not optimal, we may not be able to perform executive functions. Now, one of the issues of good mental health is the maintenance of cordial relationship too with others. This index of mental health, good mental health, is necessary for teamwork. Now, see, Madam Vice Chancellor, our entire team was present. All the three deputy vice chancellors were present, and then that was teamwork that actually dedicated to cordial work relationship. We will not be able to achieve organizational objectives. Now, after all this grammar, how do we know when we are experiencing burnout, we are experiencing occupational stress, we are experiencing stress from our workplace that's having adverse impact on our mental health? You need to know what some of the common signs are, because if you don't know, you may not be able to see professional. Okay. So that's why we need to know that some of them include poor sleep. When you suddenly find you're not sleeping well, you need to take sleeping pills to sleep, then you need to do something about it. But I must let you know that not all poor sleep require use of medications or tablets. There's what they call sleep hygiene. You need to practice it to make sure the sensory stimulation in your bedroom is reduced. So you turn on the music, turn on the lights, take a good shower before you sleep, and always use the bed to sleep comfortably. So then avoid campaign containing drinks and beverages. Then constant worry will not solve the problem. So you don't need to worry, not change anything, So you really need to only one you can do, there's a difference between what's that change and what cannot change. There's a prayer like that. So we need to always put that in our mind so that we don't unnecessarily generate and release a lot of accumulating stress and both that will give us cardiovascular system. Now, there's also the feeling of restlessness. When you become restless for no reason, then you need to begin to be worried about it. You have difficulty concentrating, you are making mistakes in your memo, mistakes in which is not usual of you, then you need to know that maybe you are being stressed out. Then there's a change in weight appetite. Either some people they put on too much weight because some people when they are depressed they eat too much, or they will lose weight because they are not eating much as part of the symptoms of depressive illness where they have poor appetite. Then there's persistent feeling of sadness. We all have feelings of sadness sometimes. But what we are worried about as the health professionals is when that feeling of sadness becomes persistent. for no reason. Then there's lots of interest in previously pleasurable activities for those who are there in social events, your women's society meetings, church meetings, your cultural activities of your town unions. It's only interested there. You worried that something may be going on. Then sometimes you feel unusual on the table. You know, unnecessarily on the table. Check yourself, something is going on. Then there's emotional outbursts. I'm sure maybe some of them have experienced it also. Where for no reason you don't get an outburst. You know, so perhaps something like that back at home and somebody venting their that, you know. Now there's also the matter of the use. There is some to use of sometimes. But this is more common among the you know, we now online back to all and from here to other cyber substances that are injurious to their health. Then there will suicidal thoughts too. When the person now has a feeling of overwhelming feeling of incapacitation, an overwhelming feeling of hopelessness, then suicidal thoughts begin to come in. Then suicidal thoughts begin to come in. Now they may decline in personal hygiene, they decline in social and emotional functioning, they also begin. Then they may engage in very high risky behavior. Sometimes they may experience strange and bizarre interference with their thoughts. Now, this feeling of experiencing strange and bizarre interference with the thoughts, experiencing strange perceptions, are what we call psychotic phenomena. When people are having this kind of experience, it indicates a very severe form of mental illness. Because the person's thoughts may be not his thoughts, they may feel maybe what is thinking is not the one thinking it, is that will get superior and inside them, or what is thinking they are removing it. Especially for those who may be writing papers, they don't write paper, it's not no. So the person will become paranoid, and some thoughts will become systematized, and it now affects relationship with the co-workers. Now, what's the recommendations? Because I believe these are also necessary. Now, the guidance and counseling units of educational institutions should be strengthened with respect to assisting students to make informed decisions about their career choice. Because they should do something that that they love to, not necessarily because that is on the one who that, right? Because they should be able to check what their talents, where their talents lie, so that they can now build their career after life. Now, females who experience symptoms of mental health seek professional care and support. Yes, that is true, but how is it in the present day Nigeria? Taking Medicare now is quite expensive. The national health insurance scheme is really operational in the public sector. Many people who work in the private sector, they don't have access to national health insurance scheme. So access to healthcare is part of payment, and so that's an area the government should do that. Now, government should also ensure that citizens, especially citizens in rural areas, so this is why I like what the Institute of Gender Studies is doing, because I've been with them at Selugo Bank. I mean, Selugo Market at the time, and it was very interesting because we saw women who had challenges. And I never knew what I was with them. And you see, when this topic, the team for the conference, I said, no, people are just, they are not thinking of an elite set of women. I remember they are telling women, market women, and women, you know, across all types of occupation. So for women in the rural area, we should strengthen our primary care system, and so that they will be able to access care. And the implementation of the federal government policy of maternity leave, you know, is mainly in the public sector. And so, Balancing.
Thank you very much. Allow me to get out of here. I was thinking, the definition, the type is in the strength of one out. What is the land? I think I have a situation. Points of reference of symptoms associated with later health, including both symptoms and worry balance. I think for these 9 symptoms of later All has been said. I'm going to be all the very fine, the very coming. Steps are more back, stretch out. So okay, it's not better for what you have said, it's better for what you said. Then, see, happy. One of water. Can we energize this hall a little bit? Hello? Can we energize this hall a little bit? Okay, I need one person to come up here and tell us 3 things about yourself. 2 of them will be true, 1 a lie. And then you're supposed to be able to guess which one is a lie. Which one is true? Which one is a lie? 3 things. Anybody? Yes, please come on. Let's analyze. Let's pay attention. Let's listen. Thank you. 3 things about yourself. Yeah, 3 things about yourself. 2 of them true, 1 a lie. And then left for us to guess which is the lie. Okay. Yes. Yes. That's really saying something that will be difficult for us to understand. One, okay, Choose. One. So that we get to try it.
I'm a mother of 6. I'm a drug prevention expert. I can jump into the river and catch so many fishes at the same time.
You're so yours, which is with a very difficult one. Okay, let me give you one. The MC here. Many of you know me. 3. Guess which one is a lie. 1. Very good tennis player. Number 2, I'm a very good dancer. Number 3, I said I'm a very good dancer. I said I'm a very good tennis player and I'm quite shy. The lie there actually is I'm a very good dancer. I'm trying to work with people tell because I can't perform. Everybody thinks I don't, shyness is alien to me. So something like that's what I want to say. I want to hear. So now, 2 truths, 1 lie.
It's what I'm fighting against. I am not a job that fight. I mean, how to use, but fight a job that
Difficult one.
morning, everyone. I'm here to project Quincy outside. Go that. Yes. Yes, it is that. Practicable VC of UniBen to mentor me. 2 children in UniBen. The child but
Okay, 1, she has defended the rapist. 2, she has 2 undergraduates, read and told she wants to be mentored by the CEO of the University of Benin. So which one is the lie there? Hello, everybody? You want to come up? No, I said to you. Which one is the lie? What do you think is the lie? Okay. All right. We need to put Madam Vice Chancellor on the spot. So, let's put Madam Vice Chancellor on the spot. Madam Vice Chancellor, come on, give us 2. And 2 straight.
Put your hands together, put your hands together.
Number one, I speak Yoruba fluent. Number two, I speak Hausa fluent. And number three, I have a grandson who is in the college, the university.
Which one is the truth there?
The lie is number one. Number two, number three are truth. Number one, she cannot be Yoruba fluently. Yoruba. No. Come not like Hausa.
Okay. All right. You said about the last two.
Correct.
Correct. Yeah. The last one is it correct?
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Because Professor Ram is here now. And so you can. I'm already here. Okay, I think I'm just sharing the. Let me take one more. Anybody? Two truths, one lie. Okay, no, I need a very difficult one. Now, nobody, it will be very difficult for all of us to figure out on the time. Quickly. And that's what the cities will be said. Thank you very much. Deans, directors that are here, we appreciate your presence. Member of council, madam, you are welcome. I appreciate you. I have to do that because to be sure that my job is very safe. Thank you. Two truths, one lie. Very difficult one.
Okay. Good afternoon, ma'am. Good afternoon, everyone. I entered the University of past 10 years.
Staff lecturing University of Benin. She had a child who's about 6 years old, and she doesn't like house chores. So which one is the truth? Which is the lie? Anybody? House chores, I mean, house chores. Is that the lie? How is that one difficult if everybody knows it? Okay, the last one, madam. Thank you so much.
Joker Matt Iberi. I am half Sierra Leone. I am also a Yoruba, and I'm 56 years old.
She's half Sierra Leone, half Yoruba, or also Yoruba, and she's 56 years old. 56 years, 56 years old. Which is the lie? This one, yeah, I'm afraid. And you're not afraid. Which one is the lie? She got? Okay, any other person with a contrary? The guy said this is a women's function. Friendly guy said this is a women's function. Yes, which one?
Number three.
Number 3, that she's 56 years old. Okay, even Madam Bisi said that the last one is a lie. So which is the lie?
Number 3, I am 70 years old.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's go to the Septuagenarian. Short form is about to pass round. Please just fill it very quickly and return. Please, the evaluation form is about to be passed around. Fill it and return. Please. Thank you. At this time, we move on to the next speakers. Please, are they here?
Good morning, everyone. Madam Vice Chancellor, I hope you're all enjoying the conference. Please, I will be passing an evaluation form round. I'll take it round. Just help us do well to fill them and then pass it back to us. Would also appreciate if you put down your email addresses. Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. So while we wait for the next guest speakers, that's Professor Yinka Omorobe, SAN, and Professor Eddie Erabi will join us shortly. I think we can just move on to take the Barbara Salami Nona. Is she ready now? Yes, ICT base. I think the next guest lecturer is Barbara Salami Nona. She'll be speaking on a leadership reset, setting expectation for greater impact, digital. Take it up, please. Thank you. Please share the slides, please. Thank you. Please help me with us. Just trying to get the slides up and running. While that is going on, just before we get on, the evaluation forms going around, please just take a minute or two to fill, write your email address on it, and return to the motions. Thank you.
But that's very nice. Professor Mrs. Osman, former Deputy Vice Chancellor Administration of this university, Madam Welcome. Thank you, ma'am. Professor Mrs. Bomoyi, about Governing Council of Bangladesh University is also here. Madam, thank you for coming. Professor Mrs. Eki, Ogre, UAB Chairman, thank you, Madam, for coming. Professor Adefunke Adelule, Chairman General, also here. Thank you. Professor Hereta Obu, appreciate your presence. And of course, the NOC Chairman, Professor Mrs. Serafina. Welcome. Professor Ms. Obu, appreciate your presence. Professor Ibudu, thank you so much. Our very own PRO of this great university, Dr. Mrs. Benedicta Ihanire. Thank you so very much. Appreciate your presence. Fantastic job yesterday, by the way. Fantastic job. Put your hands together for this. Great job yesterday. Thank you so much.
What is the matter?
Professor Fred McNice, I appreciate your presence. Thank you. I know why you are here. Since Stella Oyakilome, you're welcome, ma'am. Appreciate your presence. The chairman of NATS is great to present. Thank you for coming. Are we ready, sir? Surely. But the main cause of this and go on. It's just here with us for just a few more minutes of their remarks. This is technology. A few days ago, you recall, the owner of Twitter, Elon Musk, he owns Twitter. Everything about him is technology. And he was going to have a conversation with Donald Trump. And there was a technological hitch for just a couple of speaker. Later, I want to invite you to please take a seat here, Professor Dira. Come up to the height of the excellence. This next one is a bit of Professor Dira. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, the next speaker is basically a household name in this university. He's a fellow of the Historical Society of Nigeria and is of the Department of History and International Studies of the Smith University, the University of Benin. He is Professor Eddie O. Erabi. He is a product of the University of Benin, Boston University, Boston, USA, under the prestigious Fulbright Exchange Program. Administratively, he has been elected or appointed into virtually every position in this university, except that of the Vice Chancellor and Deputy Vice Chancellor Although he acted in that capacity during his sabbatical at the Pennsylvania University in Benin City. He's been a member of Senate since 1996 and has served as chairman and member of numerous boards and committees in this great university. At the national level, he served as the caretaker transition chairman of the Social Democratic Party for Isako local government area. I just knew that when I was preparing this brief introduction of this. I didn't know about his foray into politics. Because he only talks about politics. I didn't know he also went in there. And he was one of the 3 delegates from Edo State to the National Conference in 2004 in Abuja. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, our guest speaker today is a consummate public affairs analyst who is regularly sought after on both national and international issues, and a motivational speaker, seminars, lectures, and public workshop. Please welcome Professor of History and International Studies and the Director of University Advancement and Development Office, Professor Eddie Erabi, speaking. The future is female, shaping the next generation of women. Professor Erabi.
Our most respected, internationally celebrated Vice Chancellor of the greatest university of Benin. I want to first of all start on the note of deep apology in terms of getting here behind schedule. I will explain to Madame later, Madam Vice Chancellor, that it's by the grace of God that I'm standing here again, because I know what I was managing all of last night. It's commitment that has made it and still step here. I have decided to quickly jot down my preliminary comments. And that is because this is an intimidating gathering. Because when you see these high-level ladies like this, with Madam Vice Chancellor presiding, it reminds me of when I was trying to chase, in quotes, toast my wife in those days. And I was using my toe to dig the ground. You cannot imagine this galaxy of eminent ladies here like this. If they were to be ground here, you will see my toe still digging deep again. By way of preliminary remarks, I must sincerely congratulate the organizers of this conference, participants, and especially our Madam Vice Chancellor, who thought of and put this program together. Having been here in this university for quite some time, I'm praying and hoping that this inaugural gathering of eminent ladies and of course those involved in gender studies, that it will continue even after Madame has taken a bow in terms of the services of this university. It is my real privilege of being among the very few men that were officially invited to not only participate in this conference, but also to be one of the speakers. I consider myself really blessed amongst women. My pedigree of always being positively associated with women programs runs very deep. I've been a resource person to FIDA, that is the Women Lawyers. I've been a resource person to the National Council on Women's Societies, both at the Edo State level
and the national level, which means I've always been with women. But positively. The NCWS, that's National Council of Women's Societies, took me to Abuja in 2006